Hi everyone, welcome back to the Power Leader podcast. Today we are with DeNoia, who is an experienced business leader, IT and security executive with a proven track record of transforming IT programs into growth engines. He is skilled in scaling global operations, modernizing infrastructure, and aligning security with the business strategy to drive revenue and market expansion. He is an expert in technology operations, cybersecurity, risk management, and compliance, delivering measurable outcomes in complex environments. Let's welcome Chris DeNoia to the Power Leader podcast. Welcome to the Power Leader podcast, Chris, and Happy New Year. You are my first guest in 2026, and I am honored to have your time.
I am honored to be here with you, Dia. I am really looking forward to the podcast with you.
Thank you. Before we dive in, I would love to start with a moment that shaped your journey as a leader. What was the moment you first realized you were a leader and not just a high performer?
I love this question, Dia. Looking back in retrospect, I think the seeds have always been there for me. It's just about leverage at that point in time, particularly in my youth. But if I reflect upon it, I think the turning point for me was my first tenure over at Pascagoula Valley Regional High School District, where I spent roughly about 10 years in the IT department. This was my first tenure. I came through with help desk and worked through into engineering. As a tenacious person, been ambitious and tenacious, I found myself constantly thinking about the greater systems interconnections and the broader perspectives of business. And so therefore, as I progressed through that tenure, I just found myself constantly learning more, inquiring about different operations, and then eventually looking to the greater pastures as those eventually transpire.
Very cool. I can really relate to that because I am an engineer by education, but I am also a founder. So I totally understand the curiosity about business and a different aspect of business. Thank you, Chris, for sharing that. And did you ever had a mentor? And who was the mentor who changed your life? And what did they see in you that you didn't yet see?
I love that question. I never really had a mentor related to my vocation, our vocation of IT and cybersecurity, but I can point back to a supervisor. And that supervisor actually was over at the same tenure, Pascagoula Valley Regional High School. His name was Paul Zeller. And it was him that nudged me. Essentially, he recognized the attributes and I'll never forget, he pulled me aside one day and said, Chris, really think that you need to spread your wings and consider to take that leap of faith in yourself and move on to a leadership role where you can begin to evolve and so on and so forth. And I think if it wasn't for that, who knows? I may have still been in engineering today, which is perfectly fine. I just probably personally may never have taken that leap.
That's an amazing story. It's hard to find a mentor, and many of us doesn't know how to find a mentor. When I started like 17, 18 years ago, when I came to United States, I didn't have a mentor. And in fact, I did not even have a reference name to add in my applications for jobs. I built myself from there. And last maybe 9 years, I have been mentoring a lot of people. I just remember one thing, just because of we are talking about the mentorship. Yesterday, in fact, one of my mentee asked me, Dia, how do we get to the goal faster and easily? And I just told him, there is no shortcuts, but one thing that you can do, invest in yourself. Your time is equal to your life. And the most valuable asset we have right now is your time. And especially, we are living in a very noisy world, whether you are in society, whether you are with friends, whether you are at work, at your school, you can find a lot of noise everywhere. So, understanding where to put your time, where to invest is very important. So, talking about that, how do you help someone shift from task thinking to system thinking, Chris?
That is such a great question. I think first and foremost is it's about a perspective. I personally can use many different modalities. I've chosen sometimes to use a third-party risk management as an example. So Third-party risk management is a complex type of program for any CISO, but there's ways of approaching it. A task thinker will sometimes perceive it as the very tactical specifics of, hey, how do I address these very specific questions inside of a questionnaire, for example?
Sure
A
thing.
system thinker thinks about how do I do that, but plus how do I automate it? So I guide my teams to building architecture rather
Mm-hmm.
than checklists, basically.
Sure.
And for example, we can leverage AI to reduce questionnaires up to even 90%. And then at the same time, because that's customer facing, you get to increase your CSAT score simultaneously to pass 95%. So that in itself, just by KPI metrics, is the power of systems.
Of course. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. Yeah, I think that's very important, especially in an era of artificial intelligence, right? How do you do your work better than before, but same time thinking about revenues and connecting the dots and utilizing the tools and the new technology to do a better job. That is, of course, a way to go, I believe. When you are facing a high stake decision, what internal compass do you really rely on?
Fantastic question. Especially for either a CISO or a CIO or a CTO, maybe even a CFO. For me, personally speaking, if I was to put on the CISO hat for a second, I think business alignment and integrity are the two particular words that come to mind. So first and foremost, I don't rely on gut feeling. I rely on quantification. So for example, over at Moodle, I built their first CRQ program, which is their cyber risk quantification program. This helped align their controls to strategic risk tolerances, which is very important. And then from there, that allows us to have informed strategic leadership decisions about whether there is a conflagration moment and we need to take action, what that action looks like, understanding how we get to proceed. This is all business and signals intelligence that can generate revenue in the millions of dollars every single year. So going through those types of methodologies helps to produce that type of success.
Sure thing. We talked about technology, revenue, things like that. But in an era of artificial intelligence, how do you maintain empathy without compromising accountability?
So for me, I focus on building culture first. So I build a security culture that is a safe ethos. We don't have blame, is ethos in which individuals can thrive and inspire. And I do that through many different mechanisms. But the first and foremost is focusing on education. And you build from there, understanding the why, right? Why are we here? Why are we doing things? That's very important, even beyond the Department of IT and Cybersecurity Information Security. Understanding the why we certain do things allows us to do a better job just in general. And that doesn't matter whether it's HR or information technology or finance. We're there to drive that mission forward for the organization. And it's about culture at the end of the day. And personally speaking, and I've said this many times, business really is about the human beings behind. And people want to do business with other human beings. They want to do business with people they like. And that translates into culture.
Sure thing. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I am an ambassador of good culture because if you have good culture, satisfied employees and employees who are ethical and have high integrity, your organization is definitely in a winner side, I think. So, if you could give one sentence of advice to the people who is watching this, or to just your younger self, what it would be, Chris?
That's such a great question, Dia. If I had to give one advice to my younger self, that would be to stop trying to be the smartest technical expert in the room and start really focusing on the strategic partnerships, the facilitation that turns or uses technology into commercial enablement. So turning technology into commercial enablement is really, I think, where the value lies. And it's through that facilitation mindset.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay tuned for part 2, where Chris and I go even deeper into the kind of leadership that does not just move organization forward, but transforms the people within them. It's the Power Leader podcast. Signing off, Dia.